The modern world is filled with people drifting through life without a clear sense of purpose. They move from one distraction to another, numbing themselves with entertainment, consumerism, and shallow pleasures. The decline of traditional institutions, family, church, and nation has left a vacuum, one that many attempt to fill with whatever is most immediately available. Without guidance, they flounder. Without direction, they are pulled wherever the cultural currents take them. In previous eras, these people would have found their sense of purpose in the institutions that shaped them. They would have been formed by strong fathers, guided by wise elders, and rooted in a faith that pointed them toward eternity. They would have inherited not only traditions, but a sense of duty, a mission greater than themselves. Now, that structure has collapsed, and they are left searching. But even in this age of rootlessness, they still follow. They still seek out leaders, though not in the form of priests or philosophers. Instead, they turn to influencers. These digital figures shape the desires, beliefs, and habits of millions. They do what traditional institutions once did. They provide models of success, frameworks for self-improvement, and visions of a life worth striving for. This is the reality of the modern age. Influence is power, and those who wield it shape the future. The left has understood this for decades. The right, if it wishes to reclaim the culture, must learn it now. The collapse of traditional gatekeepers has given rise to a new cultural force, the creator economy. No longer must an artist, writer, or thought leader gain the approval of an institution to reach an audience. A single person with a camera, a microphone, and a message can shape the worldview of millions. Influence is no longer centralized in Hollywood studios, publishing houses, or mainstream media conglomerates. It is now in the hands of individuals who can build their own followings, monetize their work, and command cultural attention. This shift has profound implications. The influencers of today function as the cultural architects of tomorrow. They dictate style, values, and priorities. They create the aspirational figures that people model their lives after. Whether in fitness, entrepreneurship, philosophy, or lifestyle, influencers shape the desires and self-perceptions of their followers. They tell people what success looks like, what is worth striving for, and how to navigate an increasingly fragmented world. The left understood this early. They used digital platforms not only to entertain, but to instill ideological frameworks. They realized that memes, videos, and personal branding were more effective than academic manifestos. The right, by contrast, has been slow to adapt, often focusing on reactive politics instead of building an ecosystem of cultural influence. The creator economy is not a passing trend. It is the new battleground for the soul of the next generation. Those who shape its narratives will determine the future. The right must step forward. People do not follow influencers for mere entertainment. They follow them because they are searching for something, direction, aspiration, and a model for how to live. In a world that has stripped them of clear purpose, they look to digital mentors to fill the void. Whether consciously or not, they are seeking guidance on what is worth pursuing, what success looks like, and how to navigate an age of uncertainty. Influencers succeed because they embody a vision of life that others find compelling. They project confidence, competence, and purpose, qualities that many lack but desperately desire. A man who is lost will naturally gravitate towards someone who seems to have found the way. He does not need a perfect leader, only one who walks with conviction. This is why mere politics is not enough. People do not follow influencers because of their ideology alone. They follow them because they see in them something aspirational. The left understands this well, which is why its most effective influencers focus not only on politics, but on lifestyle, fitness, relationships, and personal development. They offer a total vision of life, not just an argument. If the right wishes to reclaim cultural influence, it must do the same. It must inspire rather than merely critique. It must cultivate leaders who do not simply oppose the world's failures, but embody something better. Influence is not taken, it is earned. And those who can offer vision will find no shortage of followers. For decades, the left has dominated cultural production. From Hollywood to academia, from mainstream journalism to social media, it has built an empire of influence. It does not control people through laws alone, but through aspirations, by defining what is desirable, respectable, and worthy of emulation. The influencers who rise in this system reflect its values, shaping millions through entertainment, lifestyle content, and social movements. This monopoly did not happen by accident. The left recognized that culture is upstream from politics. It understood that shaping minds through media and storytelling is more effective than passing policies. By capturing the creative industries and digital platforms, it ensured that even those who are not explicitly political absorb its worldview by default. Young people do not become progressive because they read political theory. They become progressive because every song, movie, and social media trend points them in that direction. The right, by contrast, has often focused on resistance rather than creation. It reacts to cultural shifts instead of directing them. It has failed to build institutions that foster art, storytelling, and creative influence, instead retreating into analysis and critique. But no movement can survive on opposition alone. If the right wants to win the future, it must do more than complain about the present. The left's monopoly on influence is not unbreakable. It persists because there has been no serious alternative. A new generation of creators, unshackled from institutional control, can change this, but they must first emerge. The right cannot win by merely opposing the left. It must create. It must offer something compelling, something that inspires action, ambition, and devotion. A movement that only reacts will never capture the imagination of those seeking purpose. People do not build their lives around negations. They build them around vision. That vision must be embodied. Influencers aligned with traditional values must do more than talk about politics. They must model strength, purpose, and excellence. They must live in a way that others want to emulate. Whether through craftsmanship, fitness, intellectual pursuit, or artistic creation, they must showcase a life worth striving for. People follow those who appear to have answers, not just in politics, but in how to work, build, and thrive. The key is aspiration. Young men and women are not drawn to movements that offer only critique. They are drawn to those that offer transformation. The right must position itself not as a force of reaction, but of renewal. It must inspire people to become stronger, more disciplined, more capable, to pursue beauty, mastery, and meaning. Those who control aspirations control the future. The right has the opportunity to redefine what is desirable, to cultivate a new class of creators who lead not through outrage but through excellence. If it builds this, it will not need to fight for influence. It will simply have it. People will follow those who live as though they already know the way forward. The creator economy is a double-edged sword. It can elevate or degrade, enlighten or corrupt. Left untethered, it feeds narcissism and shallow entertainment, churning out endless distractions that waste the talents of those who should be builders. But properly directed, it can become a powerful force for cultural renewal. The right must recognize this moment for what it is, not merely a battle of ideas, but a battle for the soul of creation itself. Creativity is not an indulgence, it is the foundation of civilization. The greatest societies were not built by men who merely critiqued their surroundings, but by those who forged something new. The right has long bemoaned the decay of art, architecture, and storytelling. Yet complaint alone changes nothing. It must nurture creators who see the world not as something to escape, but as something to transform. This means building networks, institutions, and funding models that reward excellence. It means cultivating a culture of mentorship, where those who have mastered their craft teach the next generation. It means fostering a spirit of competition and high standards, not settling for mediocrity but demanding the best. If the right fails to channel this energy, it will be wasted. Young people are already creating, already seeking meaning through their work. The question is whether they will be led toward nihilistic self-indulgence or toward something higher. The answer depends on who steps forward to guide them. Culture does not sustain itself. It requires investment, protection, and cultivation. The left understands this, which is why it has built an intricate web of funding networks, media institutions, and corporate sponsorships that support its creators. The right, by contrast, has been slow to recognize the importance of patronage. It speaks often of free markets, but fails to see that markets alone do not create great art, great literature, or great institutions. Without support, creators are forced to either conform to the dominant system or fade into obscurity. A new patronage model is needed, one that recognizes the value of cultural production and rewards those who build rather than destroy. This means developing independent funding sources, whether through crowdfunding, private investment, or decentralized networks. It means creating platforms that amplify voices that would otherwise be silenced. It means fostering communities that provide material and moral support to those who refuse to bow to the mainstream. The greatest cultural movements in history were not spontaneous. They were nurtured by patrons who understood that the soul of a civilization is reflected in its art. If the right wishes to reclaim its influence, it must take this role seriously. It cannot rely on mass platforms that are hostile to its ideals. It must create its own infrastructure, its own networks, its own economy of meaning. Without patronage, there is no creation. Without creation, there is no vision, and without vision, a people perish. The future belongs to those who fund it. The battle for the future will not be won by those who merely critique the present. It will be won by those who build, those who create, those who inspire. The world is filled with millions of lost souls, searching for purpose, desperate for direction. They will follow those who offer them a vision worth striving for. The question is, who will step forward to lead them? The right has spent too long reacting instead of shaping. It has allowed the left to monopolize culture, influence, and aspiration. But that monopoly is not inevitable. The creator economy has broken down the old barriers, giving individuals the power to bypass institutions and speak directly to the masses. Those who understand this shift will define the next era. Those who fail to act will be left behind. People do not seek meaning in politics alone. They seek it in stories, in beauty, in excellence. The right must cultivate these things, not as a side project, but as its primary mission. It must build a new cultural ecosystem, one that fosters creation, rewards aspiration, and directs restless energy toward life-giving ends. The future does not belong to those who merely resist. It belongs to those who inspire, who build, who offer something greater than what the world provides. The time for lamenting the decay of culture is over. The time for creating something new has arrived. Those who seize this moment will shape the generations to come.